Hey everybody, this is Pastor Chris. I'm coming to you live from Lexington Park Baptist Church. This is PC Studios, and it is November the 22nd, 2022. How in the world are you doing today? I hope you're blessed and highly favored by God. I'm working on Christmas. I got Christmas music going on. I'm working on the illuminator, working on communicator, working on the bulletin, and we're in full crest. We just decorated the church, so kind of we've moved into Christmas mode, and it's good. But I know we still have Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving is this Thursday. May we be grateful in our hearts and give thanks to God. So with that, let's get started today. We're talking about giving, actually, and we're talking about contributing cooperatively with each other to accomplish kingdom work. So if you're out there, we're going to be today in 1 Corinthians 16, 1 through 4, and tomorrow we'll be in 2 Corinthians 8, looking at this contribution that they collected for the saints. And it was an important contribution. It was an opportunity for them. There was famine, there was poverty, there was all kinds of persecution going on. And so, they had to get together to fix that problem. They had to say, how are we going to do that? And they collectively took up an offering to do that. So anyway, I want to thank everybody out there, whoever's out there. Thank you for being with me. We got... Hey, Tim, if you're froze, it's on your end, not my end. So anyway, Marisa, good to see you here. Tim, good to see you here. Sherry, good to see you here. Thank you all that are joining today. Make sure you sign in at facebook.com/Pastor Chris McCombs if you're live at the noon hour. If you're on another program, YouTube or another Facebook program, that's fine. Glad you're joining us, even after hours another time. Thank you for being with us today. So with that, let's look at this text. Now about the collection for the saints. Do the same as I've instructed the Galatian churches. So Paul's writing in Corinth, do the same thing that I've instructed Galatia, the church in Galatians, to do. On the first day of the week, each of you is to set something aside and save in keeping with how he is prospering, so that no collections will be needed to be made when I come. When I arrive, I will send with you letters of those who you recommend to carry your gift to Jerusalem. It is suitable for me to go as well. They will travel with me. So let's just stop right there in this text. So there's clearly in the letters of Paul, you see this concept. He's saying, as I've instructed Galatia, we know that this is going on in Macedonia. We're going to learn tomorrow. So we know Antioch is doing it. We know some of the places from yesterday we were talking about in Antioch and Cyprus and Cyrene, even places maybe that don't have a letter written to them in the Bible. They're all getting together, figuring this out. Jerusalem hears about it, and they're like, let's collect this collection for those that are in persecution, those that are scattered, those that are in famine, those that are in poverty. Let's have this collection to help, and we're going to bring it all to Jerusalem and to distribute it from there. And so this really is like what the Southern Baptist Convention does, what's called the cooperative program. Let's every church take up an offering, take up offerings, set aside a portion of their prosperity to give to the cooperative program. And even though it's not Jerusalem, it's the headquarters of the SBC, which is down in Atlanta, right, Georgia. They will distribute the funds of the cooperative program. You got NAM down there. You got IMB over here in Richmond, Virginia. So we are distributing these funds. And actually, they're in Nashville too. I think Nashville, you got Lifeway. So we got different places, but the money goes to the cooperative program of the SBC, where they can distribute these funds to the IMB, to the NAM, back to the seminaries, back to Send Relief. All these type of programs that we have to minister to people in churches to advance the gospel. And so they're doing this here. They're taking up a collection. And what it says is this contribution. They're contributing to each other. Paul says now about the collection of the saints, the contribution, this thing that's spreading, the things that people are hearing about, the church that has, listen, news about them in Acts 11, news about them reached the church in Jerusalem. They all heard. The church had ears. Before TikTok live stream, before Facebook, before Instagram, before Twitter, the church had ears. The church could hear. The church could hear the good news. And when they did it, they wanted to be a part of it. And Paul's just simply advancing that. Let's take up a collection. Now, this is the week I'm talking about giving. I don't normally do a lot of that. But it's really important for us to realize that generosity is part of the DNA of Jesus Christ. This indescribable gift, Jesus. The greatest gift ever given, Jesus. The wise men who brought gifts to a king worthy of those gifts, Jesus. We are to bring our generosity, our gifts to Jesus. Our spiritual gifts that he gives us, we use our gifts and the giftedness, our talents, our treasures, our time, all those type of things you've heard before. Paul's saying, though, here, this is not about the normal offerings that we would say go to what we call our budget. So in Romans and 1 Corinthians, this is not about us taking up an offering on Sunday. It's already implied. Do the same as I instructed Galatians. On the first day of the week, which is Sunday, when he knows you already meet, right? You're going to take, but each of you is to set something aside. This is not talking about a tithe or offering. Set something extra aside and save in keeping with how he is prospering, how you are prospering. If you've prospered, set aside extra money, extra contributions, so that when I come, listen to what he says, so that no collections needed when I come. In other words, have enough set aside. Yes, take care of the church, take care of your ministry field, take care of your mission field, take care of your gospel, take care of your pastor, take care of all those needs you have. Pay your light bills. They didn't have those back then, right? But pay all the bills, right? And after you've done that, make sure you set aside something out of your wealth, out of your prosperity. I've brought this up. If these churches in their poverty are giving greatly and generosity is in their hearts, should we not also, in our prosperity, give with great generosity? The answer is yes. I want to say that again so we hear that. The poorest person, listen to me. If you're in America, you are rich in comparison to most of the world. And you are rich in comparison to most of these churches. Jerusalem, Ephesus, maybe not. And who knows? I don't know if Corinth, they had a lot of issues, but it seems like they were okay. There's some places that might have been well off. Thessalonica probably had, it was a prosperous area. Doesn't mean they had money. It could have been, who knows? But there was definitely poverty. And in comparison to us today, there was poverty. But yet they had generosity. In our day, in America, there is great prosperity, even in inflation. Even in the administration that we live under that's making very bad policy decisions, in my opinion, about the economy and about, the border and about trade. And I just, it's shameful what's happening with that. But regardless of that, we're still so prosperous. The prosperity that we have, we're just going to have to pay higher things for everything, right? I mean, that's just life. So that's where we're at right now. And we still can do it. In our great prosperity, we're going to pay for our gas. We're going to pay for our utilities. Now, some may struggle. But in our great prosperity, we can all set stuff aside. I've not missed a meal. I've not missed food. Now, I don't know if there could be a day when the shops and the shelves are barren and empty. Not just like that little, we had that stuff in COVID a little bit. There are shortages, but we are still so prosperous. The prosperity of our nation should lead us to great generosity. The prosperity of the church should lead us to generosity. The prosperity of our homes and what we have should lead us to greater generosity. And that's what Paul's saying. Set aside an extra out of how you are prospering, how God is blessing you. So that when I arrive, we don't have to take up more. I'm going to send you letters recommending who I'm going to distribute this gift to take it to Jerusalem. If it's suitable for me to go as well, then I'll travel. Then they'll travel with me. So Paul's setting this up for success. We have a big mission here to do. I want you to contribute to it, church, just like I've instructed Galatia and other churches, by the way. What they're doing, we want you to do the same thing. So I would encourage us today is to heed the teachings of the Word of God here, is that we are to take up a collection to help one another. We should be giving out of our prosperity with great generosity. How does a church contribute and collaborate in such a way that Paul's encouraging here? Well, we do it as the Southern Baptist Convention. Churches in our area, there's Southern Baptist, PBA, we all contribute. The BCMD, Baptist Convention of Maryland and Delaware, they contribute. So does every other state convention, and we all contribute then to the national levels and to IMB and NAM and other agencies that send relief, that send out missionaries, that prepare our seminaries, all these type of things. That's what we're giving to. And when we do that, we all benefit, you all. And that's what Paul did in the first century. So I want to encourage us that we do that. We do the same thing, that we give to the PBA, that we give to the BCMD, that we give to the corporate program. above after what we've taken care of our church. I believe that is a biblical premises here of what Paul's teaching. We need to follow the DNA of the church. We need to do this. Yes, we set aside a small portion out of our actual budget. And then above that, so Lottie Moon's coming up. Probably a great opportunity for you and for me to give above and beyond after we have made our budget, right? Let's do that. Let's do the right things. Give to the budget. Then as God has prospered you, give above that. I want to encourage you as a member of my church to be generous. I want to be more generous. I want to learn. God, I want to learn to be more generous. In my prosperity, I want to have greater generosity. Now, I'm not just preaching to you. I'm preaching to me. I'm preaching to me. Look, all my fingers are pointing at me. I want to do better. I want to do better. I want to do this. I want us to have enough money to where when something happens, we can just do it. Imagine if all 100% of our budget was met and we were bringing in 125% of our budget. What could we do? Look what Paul's saying. Have enough set aside so when I come, I don't have to take up a collection. Imagine having that kind of wealth to where when something happens, which we do have a little bit of that, when that pastor got injured, we could just send him a check. Imagine instead of sending the hundreds of dollars we sent, imagine if we could have sent thousands. Imagine when Sin Relief happened for Ukraine, which we did give thousands to, I think around 14 grand. Imagine though, if we could have given, okay, we're going to take up an offering, but guess what? We've also got a surplus in our budget. We're going to give $2,000, $4,000, $10,000 extra because we're so far ahead. We're good to go. We're going to give the pride of our prosperity to that. Imagine being there. I think that's kind of what Paul's teaching. Now, you might think, Chris, you've lost it. No, I think he's saying collect and set this aside so I don't have to take up. We don't have to keep taking up collections. We don't have to keep doing this. You're already going to have it set aside, and it's going to be more than enough to go to Jerusalem. It's going to be more than enough to deal with these people that need help during this famine and this persecution and this affliction, because we're going to take care of each other. That is what I think the contribution is all about. That's what I think giving is so important. The more we give, the more generous we are, the more we can bless each other. We take care of our mission here. We set aside extra for the prosperity to go to foreign missions and local missions and missions at home front, like in North American missions or Sin Relief missions or special things that might come up with CareNet or the mission at homeless in our area or something else we can't even see. Maybe even we can be a blessing. Listen, what if we could be a blessing to the fire department or the police department? What if partnering like Release the Peace? What a novel idea. What if we could work together with even beyond our religious means? Christian Fellowship of St. Mary's County, we already contribute to them too. Imagine being able to be there in need for them as well. And not just think Southern Baptist, but think bigger. I think that's what Paul's doing. Paul has this big vision, and he's sharing this and spreading this information to these churches so they can contribute collaboratively and cooperatively. And in their poverty or their prosperity, they can give with great generosity. May we be that kind of people. May we be that kind of church. I hope this blesses you. I hope it encourages you. I hope it makes you look at yourself, not to shame anyone, or that's never the intent here, or to guilt someone to giving, but to say, God, in my heart, in the prosperity you've given me, like Paul challenged the church in Corinthians, I want to give. I want to set apart that part of prosperity. I want to give to the church. I want to give to this movement that's greater than me. I want to be a part of those kind of things. I hope you do too. I want to be, and I hope you do too. Hey, listen, we'll be back tomorrow, 2 Corinthians chapter 8. We'll finish up there. Then we're going to say happy Thanksgiving to each other, and I want you to have a great Thanksgiving, but I'll tell you that again tomorrow. So listen, remember these two realities. God loves you, and so do I. Now you go have a great day. God bless.